Hello! So the first video that I've uploaded on this channel was about VR hardware. That was around 5 months ago. And in that video I talked about the Pico 4 VR standalone headset that I've bought and that I'm actually still using. And now, after around half a year, I want to talk about my experience with the Pico 4 headset, what I like and what I don't like. So let's get right into it. First up, let me give you a little bit of context. I have bought the Pico 4 standalone headset, not the Pico 4 Ultra, for around 200 euros secondhand. Even though it said secondhand on paper, it was pretty much new. In comparison to other headsets like the Meta Quest 3 or the Pico 4 Ultra even, this was pretty much a bargain. Especially considering that this headset is pretty much the lifeblood of my channel. But over time, I have noticed some flaws, but we'll get to those later. Let's start off with points that I actually really like about this headset. So one big aspect that was very important to me and is probably very important to other people is the price. Like I've said, the Pico 4 headset only costed me 200 euros, and that is very cheap considering what kind of value I'm getting out of it. But let's talk about the Pico 4 hardware itself. Battery-wise, the Pico 4 still holds up pretty well. I can get a good more than 2 hours on one single charge while streaming wirelessly over to my PC. And for some people, this simply might not be enough. But in my opinion, for me personally, this is perfect. As I do have a 5-meter long charging cable, so once it does run low, I can just get comfy and charge my headset. But honestly, when comparing the Pico 4 to other headsets, the battery is pretty much standard. It's not great, but it's not bad either. When it comes to connection, I'd say it performs decently most of the time. The lack of 6 GHz is kind of painful, especially in 2025, but overall the connection is okay. I do experience crashes in larger public worlds, even if I use my custom shield level in VR chat. So it really depends on how lucky I am. Like if you've ever been to an event in VR chat, at the end people gather to shoot a photo, so all of the avatars get kind of close, and those are the kind of moments where it just crashes, it just gives up. But I think this is a combination of my PC specs and also the connection issues. So it's not just on Pico. And as you know, VR chat avatars are generally very poorly optimized. So it's not entirely Pico's fault, but 6 GHz could handle this a little bit better in the connection department. But yeah, most of the time it's fine, especially when I'm just hanging out with friends in a moderately optimized world. Alright, let's talk about another pretty important aspect, especially for VR chat players, the tracking of your hands. The hand tracking with the controllers is mostly fine for most cases, but also nothing to brag about. When I look at the hand tracking of my friends that use the Quest headset, that is definitely a bit better than what Pico offers. But yeah, these controllers lose tracking when you put them behind your head, as they don't have cameras themselves. And even if your hands are in sight of the headset's cameras, it does sometimes struggle to keep tracking with your hands. I wouldn't say this is a big issue. Like for example, I live on the 2nd floor and we have a slanted roof, and there's a window in that roof. When the sun shines through, sometimes the controllers just lose tracking, which can get pretty annoying. Though I gotta say, this is not a big issue as it sounds like, and I'm probably just nitpicking. Another thing that has become more and more important to me personally is hand tracking and face tracking support. These kind of features seem to slowly become the industry norm, but the Pico 4 is just simply not up to that kind of standard, as it is an older headset. What's weird though is that it does have hand tracking, but that only works in standalone. So once you connect to your PC, you can't track your hands. And even if you try using it in PC VR with a lot of workarounds, it is still very wonky and definitely not usable at all. And when it comes to face tracking, there's nothing at all, which is pretty understandable for this kind of price point, but still a bummer after all. If you plan to sleep in VR, I have bad news for you too. After a while, the Pico 4 just shuts itself off and the connection to SteamVR just bugs out, which results in a black screen once you try to connect to your PC after you wake up. This is kind of a shame because you're pretty much missing out on the potential messages that your friends might have left you while you were asleep. This could be possibly tweaked with some tinkering, but out of the box, you're pretty much out of luck. Once again though, this is only a minor problem and might not even affect you at all. Another weird thing that sometimes happens is that my audio gets really quiet, but then suddenly rises to more than maximum volume. This has caught me by surprise many times and is really odd. I'm not sure why this happens, but it mostly happened when I'm lying down on the side and charging my headset, so it might be related to that. I'm not really sure though. But yeah, this has definitely jump scared me a few times, but it does happen less recently. Another little thing that annoys me from time to time is that it just doesn't pick up my microphone. And lastly, there are very affordable proprietary trackers you can buy for your Pico headset, so you can track your legs and waist. But a good tracker is not just hardware, but also software. So these trackers have to be updated from time to time to make their tracking more accurate and prevent issues like drift. But in 2025, updates come way slower to the Pico 4 than the Pico 4 Ultra, especially when it comes to these crucial tracker updates. It does kind of feel like that they're neglecting their cheaper headset for their flagship offering. So yeah, in spite of me mentioning a lot of negative points about the Pico 4 headset in this video, I still think for me personally, it provided me with a lot of value. Like my proper first edited video was about this headset and I still use it to record videos, even right now. The microphone is great and the comfort out of the box is miles ahead of the Quest 3, which are also contributing factors why I personally like it a lot. So yeah, tell me what you think in the comments down below. Do you already own a VR headset? Which one do you own and what do you think about it? Or if you don't own a VR headset, would you consider buying the Pico in 2025? And yeah, leave a like on the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more. You can also support me on either Ko-fi or become a member on YouTube like all of these beautiful people. Wow, there's a lot of you. Anyways, have a great day and I hope to see you soon. Mata nera! Bye bye!